So we have seen minimum spanning tree algorithms for finding the minimum spanning tree and maximum spanning tree, namely Prim's algorithm and Kruskal's algorithm. So we need to quickly see some of the properties of the minimum spanning tree. For example, if I come across two tabs G and G dash, where the vertices are exactly the same, edges are also same. But the edge weights in G dash are exactly one more than the edges in G, but you have already computed the minimum spanning tree in G. Do I need to recompute the minimum spanning tree in G dash? How does the minimum spanning trees in G and G dash compare? So we have seen that for the case of shortest paths, so there is no relationship. So the shortest paths in G need not be same as shortest paths in G dash. So what happens in the case of the minimum spanning trees or maximum spanning trees, we're going to see in this video. And the other important thing is that if the graph itself is dynamic, when I say that the graph itself is dynamic, some edges may be added, some edges may be deleted, or the edge weights of some of the edges can increase or decrease. In that case, if you want to maintain the spanning tree, how quickly can you update your spanning trees? So these are the questions we'll try to answer in this video. So in this video we will see how efficiently we can update the minimum or maximum spanning tree if the graph is a dynamic graph. Let's look at an easy example. Let G be a graph on which you have computed the minimum or the maximum spanning tree. Let G dash be another graph where the set of edges and the set of nodes are exactly the same, but edge weight of every edge in G dash is exactly one more than the corresponding edge weight in the graph G. Now if ST is any spanning tree, then the number of edges in the spanning tree is exactly equal to n minus 1, right? So this is very important. If you take any spanning tree of G, the number of edges in the spanning tree is exactly equal to n minus 1. So now if you take the summation of the weights of the edges, these edges which are there in the spanning tree in G dash, so what you get is summation of W of W dash of U comma V. This is the summation take over all the edges in the spanning tree. But W dash is exactly equal to W of U comma V plus 1. So this number of edges in the spanning tree is n minus 1. So the number of ones in the summation is n minus 1. So we can pull out n minus 1, and this summation is weight of all the edges in the spanning tree where the edge weights are from G. So minimizing or maximizing the left hand side is same as minimizing or the maximizing the elements on the right hand side, right? So so this equation tells you that any minimum spanning tree of G is also a minimum spanning tree of G dash, and any maximum spanning tree of G is also maximum spanning tree of G dash. So if you have, so what this indicates is that if there is a graph and you have computed the minimum spanning tree of that particular graph, then if you add a constant to all the edges in the given graph, that means that the edge weights of all the edges have been increased by, let's say, a constant C. C could be positive or negative. Then you don't have to recompute the MST. So whatever MST that you have will continue to be the MST, but the total weight of the MST will increase by C times n minus 1, right? So, but you don't, if all the edge weights are increased or decreased by a constant, then the weight of the minimum spanning tree will increase or decrease by n minus 1 into C, but the spanning tree will not change. Now let's look at the second example. So in this example, same as before, but the weight in the G dash graph is twice into weight of this edge. Okay. So now if you take any spanning tree and sum up all the weights of the edges in the spanning tree in W dash, this is equal to sum of the weights in the spanning tree 2 times W of U comma V. So 2 comes out of the summation, so you get that 2 into W times U comma V. So summing of minimizing the summation on the left hand side is same as minimizing or maximizing the summation on the right hand side. So if you have a minimum spanning tree for G, the same minimum spanning tree will also be the minimum spanning tree for G dash. Similarly, if you have a maximum spanning tree for G, that will continue to be the maximum spanning tree for G dash. Okay, instead of a C, we can always multiply with any constant here. So positive constant here. So if you multiply with a positive constant as seen in this diagram, you can always take out the constant from this, and the minimum spanning tree or the maximum spanning tree doesn't change. But if you multiply with a negative constant, so what you're going to see here is that whatever is the minimum spanning tree will become the maximum spanning tree, and the maximum spanning tree will become the minimum spanning tree if you multiply with a negative number. So if the weights are scaled up by a constant factor C greater than 0, then the minimum spanning tree of G will continue to be the minimum spanning tree after you update the edges by W times C for this constant. So in the case of the shortest paths, we said that if you add 1 to the every edge, then in the new graph the shortest paths will change. But in the case of the spanning trees, that's not the case. Minimum spanning tree after adding 1 or a constant to all the edges in the graph will continue to be the same. But if you look at the multiplication factor, so there in the previous algorithm, previous proof, we used the fact that the summation has exactly n minus 1 edges. But in the case of shortest paths, if you take two paths, they may not be having the same number of edges. That's why we got into trouble. But in the second proof here, when you multiply by a factor, it doesn't matter. So the 2 comes out irrespective of the number of edges in the summation. So it's easy to see that this theorem is also true for shortest paths. If you have a graph G, and if G dash is another graph where W dash is weight of every edge is twice the weight in the original graph, then the shortest paths in the original graph will continue to be the shortest paths in the new graph. So as long as you multiply with a constant which is greater than greater than 0, so the graphs will preserve the shortest paths as well as the minimum spanning tree and maximum spanning tree. But if you want to add a constant, so the minimum or the maximum spanning tree will be preserved, but the shortest paths will not be preserved. Now let's look at the next example. So let's say that the graph is dynamic in the sense that I want to add an edge or delete an edge. Let's say that I want to delete an edge is deleted from the graph. Okay, so when I delete an edge from the graph, there are two cases. If the edge that is deleted is not part of the MST, if the edge that I have deleted is not part of the MST, then clearly we don't have to do anything. So the MST will continue to be the MST of the new graph after you delete it. But if the edge that I have deleted is part of the MST, then what you do is that delete this edge from the MST, and so when you delete one edge from the MST, what will create is two connected components. Now what you have to do is that among all the edges going across the these two connected components, pick an edge of minimum weight and add this to the MST. So easy to see the implementation of it. Let's quickly go through the pseudocode for implementing this algorithm. Just to summarize, so when you delete an edge, so you have the u comma v was part of the MST, you have deleted this edge, and so you have two connected components in the MST. So what we do is that we apply BFS from u. So when you apply BFS from u, you get all the vertices in the connected component containing v, and all the vertices which are in the other connected component containing v will not be visited. So so now you have certain elements will be marked, and the other component the elements will not be marked. So you have to consider the edges which goes across these two connected components, which is easy to do because you just look at the vertex, we consider every edge and look at the endpoints, and if exactly one of them is visited and the other one is not visited, that means that it's going across the connected component. So we start with the BFS we call BFS with U. So let's quickly recall what is BFS. You set all the V's to be false to in the beginning, then add the starting vertex to the queue, then set this flag to be true. Then as long as the queue is not empty, you delete an element from the queue. Then for every edge in the MST, we are applying BFS on U on the MST, not on the actual graph, because we do want two connected components in the MST. So then if U of V is false, add this into the queue and set the V values to be true. So what you do is that if you call the BFS from U, so all the vertices including U which are in the connected component containing U, the flag of that will be set as true, and all the vertices which are in the other connected component containing V, the flags will be still be false. So once I do this, so we called BFS from U, then you set the minimum. So I want to find the minimum element which goes across the connected component. So now you take every edge in the graph, ask the question whether this goes across the connected component. If it goes across the connected component, so if one of them, if it goes across the connected component, then exactly one of the flags should be true and the other one should be false. The easy check for it, we check whether V of V is not equal to V of U. That means that it goes across the connected component, and I am keeping track of the minimum weight of the edge which is going across these two connected components. If the weight of the present wedge, that is W of U comma V, is smaller than the minimum, then you update your minimum. So when you update your minimum, you also keep track of the edge which is giving us the minimum, right? So after you do that, so because I deleted U comma V, I had two connected components. So what I did is that I looked at all the edges in the actual graph and took an edge which is going across this edge and has a minimum weight. So that edge is A comma P, and the weight of this edge is minimum, right? So just add the edge A comma B to the MST which goes across two connected components, and since it goes across two connected components, what you get will be one connected component which is the new MST. So the complexity here involves applying BFS from U on the MST. Remember that in the MST the number of edges will be n minus 1. So applying BFS will take order V time, and once you found the applied the BFS, you know you mark the vertices into different connected components. One, all the vertices are in one connected component are marked as true and the other one is marked as false. This is exactly what the BFS does. Now if you take the edges going across, so you have to consider every edge exactly once, and among all the edges which is going across, you keep track of the minimum. Since you are looking at every edge here, this is order E. To be precise, this is order V plus E, but so since the graph is connected, E is always greater than V, so we just write it as the complexity of this is order E. So if you are deleting an edge from the graph, if the edge is not part of the MST, do nothing. So it will take only order E V time to check whether this edge is there in the MST or not. How do you do? MST has a edge list. You go through the edge list of U. If V is there, then that particular edge is part of the MST. Otherwise, it's not part of the MST. If it's not part of the MST, do nothing. If it's part of the MST, then you'll follow this process. In this case, the MST can be updated in order E time. So now let's look at how to update the MST. So the previous one was for so minimizing the so in all these examples we are assuming that the MST is the minimum spanning tree. So in the previous example, so if you wanted to update the maximum spanning tree, instead of find the minimum here, so what all that I need to do is keep track of the maximum, right? So if the given spanning tree was as a maximum spanning tree, in order to apply update the maximum spanning tree instead of keeping track of the minimum, so what you need to update is the maximum. So now let's turn our attention to how to update the minimum spanning tree. We'll discuss only the minimum spanning tree from now onwards. The maximum spanning trees can be updated with a similar algorithm. So now we add an edge to the graph. So we will add this edge into the MST also. When you add this additional edge, which is not part of the original graph, but it has come to the graph now. So when you add this edge also into the MST, it will create a cycle. So now if you want to update your minimum spanning tree, what you do is that in this cycle, delete an element, delete an edge with the maximum edge. Okay, this is called maximum weighted edge in this cycle created by adding this edge. How to do this? How to find the maximum weighted edge in the cycle? In the cycle, this can be done by applying BFS from the vertex U. Let's look at the code for it. So the BFS, I keep track of m of v. Initially, this is going to be minus infinity. So I add this element. So m of v will keep track of the maximum weighted edge reachable from the source vertex. Remember, I am going to apply BFS from U. So the m of I will be the maximum weighted edge reachable from S when I look at the path from S to I. So how do you update this? So when you visit this node, I ask the question whether the so the edge that I have here, is it bigger than the maximum weighted edge that you can reach up to the edge U, right? So you can imagine there is a diagram here. So there is a S here and there is a U here, and you have this edge U comma V. So m of U will keep track of the maximum weighted edge in this path from here to here. If this edge that you have discovered now, that is U to V, has a weight which is bigger than the m of U, then the m of V, which is the maximum weighted edge when I reach V in the path from S to V, this will be this edge, because the weight of this edge is bigger than the maximum weighted edge from S to U, which is stored in m of U. So in that case, I also keep track of the corresponding edge. The corresponding edge is given by A and B. A of V is set as V, and B of V will give us U. So the m of V will give us the maximum weighted edge on the path from S to V, and the wedge is actually given by A of V comma B of V. If this condition is not true, that means that the maximum weighted edge along the path from S to U is bigger than the current edge. So in that case, I set my m of V to be m of U, and the corresponding edge that is A of U comma B of U. So I set my A of V to be A of U and B of V to be so B of V to be B of U. So that means that so B of A of U comma B of U is the maximum weighted edge on the path from S to V, S to U. So the same edge will continue to be the maximum weighted edge from S to V. So I update my A and B accordingly. So we added the edge U comma V into the graph. So V comma U was added into the MST as well. So when we added this U comma V into the MST, it created a cycle. So what we wanted to do is find the maximum weighted edge in this cycle, right? So what we did is we found m of V, which is the maximum weighted edge from the path from U to V. So and the corresponding edge is A of U comma B of V. So this edge will be deleted from the MST. So you added U comma V and you identify an edge in the cycle. Obviously we want to delete an edge with the maximum weight because we are trying to update the minimum spanning tree. So you found the maximum weighted edge in the cycle containing U comma V and deleted the edge from the MST. So this will take order V because we are applying BFS on the MST. The number of edges in the MST is V minus 1. So the complexity of applying BFS on the MST is order V. So instead of minimum spanning tree, if you wanted to update the maximum spanning tree, then instead of looking at the maximum weighted edge, you would have looked at the minimum weighted edge. So the modification that you need to do is that instead of smaller than symbol here, you should just write the greater than symbol. That will give you the minimum weighted edge from in the path from U to V, and just delete that edge from the MST. Now let's consider the case where you are updating the weight of an edge. You have a graph G, you have found the MST, let's say the minimum spanning tree of the graph. So when I say MST now, I refer to minimum spanning tree. Now the weight of the present weight of the edge u comma v is w of u comma v, but you want to set that weight to the new weight, which is w. So the two things can happen: either you are increasing the key, that means that the new weight is greater than the old weight. So if the new weight is greater than the old weight, so the weight of the edge is increasing. If the edge is not part of the MST, then you don't have to do anything, you have to just update the weight in the graph. But if the weight is part of the MST, then this may not continue as the weight of the edge. So what you do is that you update the weight of this edge in the minimum spanning tree, then delete this edge from the minimum spanning tree, and that will create two connected components. Now you among all the edges which go across this connected component, pick the one which is the minimum weight, right? So this case is very similar to deleting the key from the minimum spanning tree. This can be done in order E. So if on the other hand, if the weight of the new edge is small, weight of the new weight is smaller than the weight of the edge, then it is a decrease key. So if the weight is decreased, if the edge is part of the MST, then so if the edge weight is decreased, then the MST will continue to be the same, only the weight of the minimum spanning tree will decrease. But if the edge is not part of the MST, then what may happen is that after you decrease the weight of this edge, this might come back to the minimum spanning tree. So what you do is that you add this edge into the minimum spanning tree. This will create a cycle, and in this cycle delete the maximum weighted edge. This case is exactly same as to adding an edge into the minimum spanning tree. This can be updated in order V. So instead of minimum spanning tree, if you are given the maximum spanning tree, and if you are increasing the key, now if you increase the key, if the edge is part of the MST, then the MST will not change. But if it's not part of the MST, it might come back to the MST. In that case, if you increase the key in the maximum spanning tree, the case will become similar to adding the key. And in the case of decreasing the key, if the edge is not part of the MST, then you don't have to do anything. But if the edge is part of the MST, after your decrease, this may not be the maximum spanning tree. In that case, you delete this particular edge, and it will create two connected components, and whatever you do will be exactly same as so what you did in the case of deleting the key. So what is shown in the slide here is for updating the minimum spanning tree. If you want the maximum spanning tree, it's easy to see that in the case of increase key, the case becomes very similar to adding the key, and in the case of decrease key, the case becomes similar to deleting the key. In one case, this can be updated in order V time, and in the other case, it can be updated in order E time. So depending on whether you are adding, deleting, increasing the key, or increasing the value of weight of the node, or decreasing the weight of the node, weight of the edge. So this can be updated in order V or order E, which is much faster than recomputing the entire MST, because if you have to recompute the entire MST, it will take order V plus E log of E. So the MSTs, if the graph is dynamic in the sense that you are adding some edges, deleting some edges, or changing the weights of some of these edges, the MSTs can be updated in linear time. In some cases in linear in number of edges, and in some cases linear in the number of nodes in the graph. You can always ask the question, can we do the similar thing in the case of shortest path? For example, if you take the Dijkstra's shortest path, so you have the shortest path tree computed. Now if you add some edges or delete some edges or change the edge weights, can you quickly, so one way to do it is just apply the Dijkstra again, you get the new shortest paths, but that will take order V plus E into log V. So can you do much faster the way we did it in the case of a minimum or maximum spanning tree? It turns out that updating the shortest paths are much harder. It's not easy. It's not part of this course, but after this course I want all of you to think about this, how to update the shortest paths if the graph is dynamic. Similar question can also be asked in the case of DFS and BFS. You're given a graph, you have computed the BFS, corresponding BFS and DFS, but some of the edges may be added or deleted. So can you quickly, so one way to compute the BFS and DFS tree of the new graph is to apply BFS DFS algorithm again, but that's too costly, right? So that will take order V plus E. But is there an easier algorithm faster than order V plus E to update the BFS or DFS? Again, it's not easy. There are no easy algorithms known, easy in the sense that as easy as updating the minimum spanning tree or the maximum spanning tree. Again, I'll leave that as a homework. The hint is that it's not easy to update even the DFS and BFS. You can search in the net and see what is the best known algorithms, how efficiently can you update the DFS and BFS after this course is over. But so this is not part of the updating DFS BFS or the shortest paths is not part of this course, and updating these things are much harder compared to updating the minimum or the maximum spanning tree. So now let's look at the next example. So we have a graph G which has some edges, some nodes and weights. So we have computed the MST of this particular graph, right? So that's the minimum spanning tree has been computed. So now a new node has been added, and k weighted edges incident this node is added to the graph. So you added one node and you have added several edges to the graph. So now I want to compute the MST of the new graph, but I already have the MST of the older graphs. How efficiently can I compute the minimum spanning tree of the new graph? There are two ways of doing it. So one is that you add the first edge. When you add the first edge, you get a connected graph in the new MST. So now keep adding the remaining n minus 1 edges as done in the previous case. When you add an edge, since it's the minimum spanning tree, every time when you add an edge, this creates a cycle. So in this cycle, you find out the maximum weighted edge and delete it. You repeat this k number of times, so you get a k into n algorithm. Other alternative edges is that in the new MST, the edges which are not part of the MST in the original graph cannot come back to the MST. So the MST will contain the only candidates for the MST are the MST in the edges in the older MST and the k edges that I have added. See, remember that since I am not allowed to add duplicate edges, the k is always smaller than n. So the MST, the candidates for the edges in the MST are the edges in the older MST plus the number of edges that have been added, which is k. So add this k edges into the MST, right? So you create a graph. So this will have n minus 1 plus k number of edges, which is a number smaller than 2n. Now apply Kruskal's algorithm on this graph, which is the union of edges in the MST and the newly added edges. So you find the minimum spanning tree here. So this takes order n log n time. So depending on the value of k, so if k is smaller than log of n, then you can add the first method. If k is greater than log of n, that means that you have added too many edges, then you can follow the second method. So in any case, so you have order k or kn or n log n algorithm to update the minimum spanning tree after you add an edge and some edges which are incident on the set on this node. So that's more or less the end of the discussion on spanning trees. I hope you have enjoyed the discussions. So that's the end of this course. We'll come back to some other topics sometimes later. Bye for now. Have a good time.